how Ignite and Lift are really inspiring Detroit's students toward cutting edge careers. As we dive into that topic, as you mentioned, not too long from now, we will be joined by the Learning Lab director from Lyft. But before we get into that, I want to share some thoughts on these cutting edge careers. What does an amazing manufacturing career, or for that matter, what does an amazing career look like? You know, when we ask our young people about amazing careers, a lot of them, the first thing that they'll mention is money. They want to make a lot of money. But you know, it's interesting when we ask people that have been working for a long period of time, have been in the workforce, they'll tell you that money is important, but it's usually number 4 or 5 or even number 6 on the list. And most of the time they will characterize it in terms of wanting to have a job that provides financial security for them and for their families. Other things that are important in amazing careers are a sense of belonging. So many of us worry in this era of social distancing and working from home, are we going to lose that sense of connection that we have to our employers and to our coworkers? And I think we can all agree that a sense of belonging in our organizations is important. In manufacturing especially, that sense of satisfaction, that sense of looking back at the end of the day or at the end of the week and knowing and looking at what we produced and being able to see the physical manifestation of our work is really, really important. I love being able to go out to the store or going out for a drive and seeing products that I've had a hand in helping to manufacture. A sense of purpose is important in a career. We want to be able to get up in the morning and have somewhere to go, feel as though we are adding value and that our work makes a difference. If we work for the right organization, we may even have a mission, something larger than ourselves and our coworkers that we are all working toward that make our work even more important. We also believe that an opportunity for advancement to continue to better our skills and be rewarded for that hard work is important. And when we talk to people about the value of a manufacturing job, many of them will talk about the opportunities for advancement and how those opportunities create a sense of hope for the future. Now, folks, we can disagree on a lot of things, but let's agree on this. If we provide more opportunities for financial security and belonging, for satisfaction and for people to have a purpose in their work and a mission, for an opportunity for advancement so that they can have a hope for the future. If we can provide those types of opportunities, we can solve a whole number of problems. That's why at ATS Midwest, we talk so much about our mission being securing the American dream for the next generation of the manufacturing, the advanced manufacturing, and the STEM workforce. Those aren't just words. Those are things that we get up believing in and working on every single day, even in a small way, being a part of that sense of the future. And those, again, aren't just words. Those are things that I have seen lived out in a manufacturing career that spans several decades. I love stories about people like my friend Jesus. Jesus was somebody who came to us as a machine loader, basically loading material onto a piece of equipment. Was later promoted to a machine operator, then to a cell supervisor, and then to a department supervisor. I'll never forget the day that Jesus came to me and said, with his hand outstretched, shaking my hand, said, you know, I don't know that I ever thanked you for the opportunities that this company has provided for me and for my family. I think about Linda. Linda was basically living on the street when she came to our manufacturing company. And she had a job, an entry-level job as a material handler, and managed to move her way up to a cell supervisor. A great trajectory of somebody who had a world full of problems and was then able to support her family through her career in manufacturing. I think of my friend Joe Dyer. Joe started out loading and unloading 750-degree processing ovens. As manufacturing jobs go, not a particularly glamorous one. But Joe worked his way up through the organization, and 8 years after he started, he was the director of operations running 3 manufacturing plants, one in Wisconsin and one in Iowa and one in Indiana. And I think about Joe's brother, who started out as a production welder and ended up going through, and we helped him with his education. And years later, he earned a degree in mechanical design. Today is one of the most well-respected fixture designers in all of manufacturing. And these people are in really, really cool careers, especially as manufacturing evolves. We can talk about Industry 4.0 or Industry Infinity 0.0, as we like to call it. The advent of the industrial Internet of Things and of robotics and automation in the way that we manufacture products. Cyber physical systems where our hardware and software are coming together and blurring together in terms of how we manufacture. And technologies like 3D printing additive manufacturing, and how those are transforming manufacturing. And finally, predictive analytics and data science. Lost in this whole discussion of advanced manufacturing sometimes is the role that material science plays in the manufacturing world. Some mind-blowing material science technologies, sensors that are powered by the heat of our bodies. That's technology that is available today. Being able to transfer data using just light, that is just around the corner. How about contact lenses that can sense our brain's activity, sense what it's doing, and send that information to an external device? Or indefinitely recyclable plastics, plastics that can be recycled over and over and over again in an effort towards sustainability. On that same topic, the wood sponge. Here's a sponge that is actually processed and made out of wood that can selectively remove oil from water using advanced materials technology. And one of my favorite self-healing materials. So we have a part that we use, we have a product that we use that gets nicked or scratched or damaged in some way, and it heals itself. It's because of technologies like these, including biodegradable materials that are stronger than steel, that research and development spending in the field of advanced materials has increased by more than double in the last 10 years, increased by 140%. So when we think about securing the American dream and all the great opportunities that we want to create for America's young people, when we think about advanced manufacturing and advanced materials technology, I can think of no better example where these efforts are alive and well than at LIFT and with their Ignite curriculum. So I'm so excited today to welcome our guests. My first guest is Marianne Donoghue. Marianne's the Learning Lab Director from LIFT. What an amazing background Marianne has. She's got a bachelor's degree in mathematics, a master's degree in urban education, focusing on diverse and multicultural students and students of all ages. She spent 15 years as a high school teacher teaching mathematics, and then she spent a period of time thereafter working at Oakland University in their engineering outreach program as assistant director before joining the team at LIFT about 18 months ago. Also joining me today is my friend Chris Roberts, and Chris is a business development executive for ATS Lab Midwest, working with educators all across Eastern Michigan as they implement cutting-edge manufacturing learning systems and programs. Chris has almost 4 decades of experience in technology, including time in the world of computing and computers. He owned his own worldwide distribution company for a period of time before joining ATS Lab Midwest about 11 years ago. So let me first ask Chris and say hello to Chris and welcome you to the program. Chris, it's great to have you.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here today.
And also to Marianne Donoghue, thank you so much for being with us today. Marianne, I've got a quick question for you.
Yeah.
And that question is this. We're looking at a virtual tour of the LIFT facility. Can you tell us just a little bit more about how LIFT partners with really innovative manufacturers toward advancements in material science?
Yes, I would love to talk about my learning lab specifically, but overall LIFT is a research and design institute in Detroit for the manufacturing industry with over 200 members and partners who are cutting edge and innovative in the manufacturing industry. You're looking at now the main floor of LIFT, which is our high bay area, which is utilized by our partners and members for their research and testing. Housed above on the second floor, which I think we'll get to soon, second floor of LIFT is an immersive advanced manufacturing learning laboratory, which is considered our LIFT Learning Lab. The LIFT Learning Lab has windows allowing students to look out onto the high bay. The Learning Lab focuses on building a talent pipeline of manufacturing technicians. And given this unique setup with the windows, with the lab upstairs, and being within a facility that does industry research and design, is the perfect setup. Students can look out of the lab and directly see what they're learning at LIFT and using the Ignite curriculum, see how it applies directly to industry. The LIFT Learning Lab consists of 7 different labs. There's a virtual reality computer lab, which is capable of supporting the e-learning parts of Ignite, along with some virtual reality concepts and trainings. Then we also have an area with all of the Amatral training equipment for students to complete their skill applications on out of Ignite. We also have an open, flexible lab for students to work in groups on their projects or have career discussions with companies. Our members do enjoy working with the students. We have a material science lab, a CNC operations training center, and a welding training center. We are also in process of adding a smart factory lab, which will focus on teaching digital twin and smart factory concepts. You can see right there, we had students in visiting the lab, touring, doing some activities. The LIFT Learning Lab provides learning opportunities for an entire continuum of talent development, including students and teachers, faculty from K-12 to community and technical colleges, to university and graduate degrees programs, and incumbent workers in small, medium, and global enterprises. LIFT strives to be a national leader in these technologies and processes, training, as well as building competencies to leverage multiple new developments, including additive manufacturing, digital, composites, robotics, Industry 4.0.
Fantastic. And tell us a little bit, I was so interested in meeting some of your students when I was there earlier this year, Marianne, and talking to them and hearing how your program is inspiring them toward really, really interesting careers. Can you tell us a little bit about the community of students that you're reaching? Who are they? What are their ages? And where do you see their career pathways going as they move through your program and then into whatever comes next for them?
LIFT, like I said earlier, kind of is a very broad range of students. During the school year, we host a lot of high school students. UPrep, which is one of the largest charter school districts in Detroit, brings 80 students to LIFT every day to learn Ignite. Students stay about an hour and a half. Most of them at this stage are 9th and 10th graders, but as the program goes, they will grow into 10th, 11th, and 12th graders as the students move into their second and third year of Ignite. We have students from Detroit Public Schools, other charter schools, and then our skilled trade programs. The CNC operations and welding does consist of upper high school students, 11th and 12th graders, and young adults, like 19, 20 students that have just graduated that are looking for careers in those areas, as well as adults who are looking to either improve upon the skills that they have or looking to get new skills. They're looking for a new career in a high demand area. Ignite specifically, when you're talking career pathways, I kind of view it like a parent, because I have high schoolers right now, and I see LIFT, the Learning Lab, and specifically Ignite as kind of a platform to a bunch of different careers. It could be engineering. It could be kind of getting them interested. It's a hands-on project-based learning platform. Get them ready to go to those universities and do those deeper projects where they're thinking and learning and growing. But it can also be something where, it leads them into a CNC operations program, maybe electronics, possibly welding, gets them into those other career opportunities. Community college is a great choice as well. It really kind of opens their eyes and gets them focused in manufacturing and in those STEM careers.
And at that age, isn't that what it's all about, is to provide young people with exposure?
Welding and CNC operations, and they do result. Those programs specifically result.
Do we lose Marianne again?
Some of the manufacturing careers that you see at community college.
Fantastic. Marianne, can you hear us? You can hear me good?
Yes, my internet is
very
really
good. So
not happy. It's sending me alerts right now, which scares me. I'm sorry.
Don't be scared. Don't be scared. Wouldn't be our first time with a couple of technological glitches on the live webinar, and we love to do these live for obvious reasons, and we roll with the challenges that come along with that format. So don't apologize for that at all. You mentioned Ignite a couple times, and
yes,
I'd really be interested in you telling us a little bit more about this curriculum that you partnered with the DoD and with Amatrol and others on putting together. Tell us a little bit more about the curriculum itself.
Ignite it basically was created to meet the needs of the manufacturing industry. There were 3 manufacturing institutes, a couple of universities, and Amatrol used some funding from the Department of Defense to develop this multimedia learning type simulation. As a former teacher, specifically a math and STEM teacher, I find it very exciting. It's very hands-on. It's kind of a hybrid model. You're using some e-learning that's on the computer that's really interactive, and then they use the Amatrol trainers to kind of make it real life. Students, they roll through, they have a semester of material science. They do some introduction to manufacturing, like plant organization, materials, fluids, hydraulics, pneumatics, kind of a lot of it. Also, while tying in a lot of the math and science standards that they would learn in a traditional school. So they kind of learn it more hands-on and definitely more real life based. It is targeted at a high school level. It is a 3-year curriculum, but that also includes all of the projects. But it can be modified for different audiences. Students usually result in careers, like I said, they can use it to kind of lead into a university in engineering, but it also it's meant to focus on advanced manufacturing careers.
Outstanding.
Ready to be
And
in
so
the
now
industry.
that we're in this era of distance learning, of not knowing exactly what campuses might look like this fall or in the summer and into the fall, would be interested in knowing how you're thinking about how that curriculum might morph or change itself given the current era that we're in.
It's funny that you say that because I was supposed to run 2 kind of Ignite-based intro to robotics camps for some local robotics teams this summer. And we are shifting very fast, a lot faster than I expected, to in virtual format, which I think is exciting because it's a lot easier. It's a hybrid format already. So to adjust it, you can do that. And you're looking at the screen already. For those of you that are watching the screen, it's very hands-on. It's very interactive. There's not only modules that they watch and go through, but they're clicking and they're interacting and they're following the flow of the different trainers as they do it. So the Ignite and the Amatrol curriculum really leads into, I think, what all schools are going to have to do very easily. Probably easier than, like, if I was a math teacher looking at Algebra 2, I would be panicking more than I'm panicking with Ignite, for sure.
Absolutely. Well, and technology is certainly going to lead us there. In the world of virtual training is something that
Yes.
we're just seeing tremendous amounts of interest right now for exactly that reason. And I think you make a great point, the way that Ignite and the DoD and Amatrol and LIFT have worked together to really create a platform that allows students to learn their theory and learn that anywhere. We can learn that in the classroom. They can learn that in a learning lab. They can learn that at home, really anywhere that they can get a Wi-Fi connection, still be able to do their hands-on skills and still be able to do them in a virtual environment, even if they're not in the lab. And then as we're able to work them into the lab, get that hands-on, fully kinesthetic opportunity to really put what they've learned to practice. So the work that you have done and that others have done in that area is going to really pay significant dividends as we head into the fall. I want to turn our attention now to Chris Roberts. And Chris, we almost had you go through this a little bit sooner than maybe you had expected, so you had plenty of time to prepare for this question. We expect a phenomenal answer. But it'd be interesting, based upon what Marianne just told us about the LIFT project, about the Ignite curriculum. Tell us a little bit more about how we combine e-learning with hands-on skills, and how could some of our schools attending the webinar today implement the Ignite program at their own facilities?
Well, good questions. E-learning really provides unlimited practice of transferable skills. So when a student works on a physical training system, the knowledge they gained in these practice online sessions gets validated in a real experience. And at that point, the instructor can grade the work being done according to the mastery of those skills. Now, in the short term with COVID, appointment-based skilled assessment on the physical trainers with cleaning between student activities will probably be necessary, but it's, the hands-on assessment is a very important part of the learning that goes on at LIFT. Implementing it at your own schools, the Ignite program, is pretty easy. You reach out to us. We'll focus on the correct Amatrol distribution network in your area, which is providing that curriculum. And we'll program something customized exactly to your school's needs.
So it sounds pretty turnkey for anybody who's interested. It's really a phone call and a discussion and figuring out a way to get it rolling. So
exactly.
Excellent. Thank you, Chris. Melissa, I'm curious if we've had any questions that have come in from our audience over the course of the webinar. We'd love to hear those.
Absolutely. So one of the questions that we got, and Marianne, I think maybe if you can answer this one, it would be great to hear from you. Um, what if somebody wants to teach the Ignite program, but they don't necessarily have that manufacturing technology background? Would they still be able to teach this program?
Absolutely. Um, my background, like I said, is in mathematics. So I would think anyone who's comfortable being technical could attend the trainings and go through the program. The Ignite is really, really easy to implement. I mean, I know being a former teacher, because all teachers that are watching this, I think are thinking, oh my goodness, there's nothing that implements perfectly. It all takes some work. It all takes supplementing, adjusting it to my students. And really, this is the first one that I've seen that doesn't require all of that. Teachers can kind of do what they're learning, I guess, and just kind of implement it as is. And just, the students do the pre and post test, students walk through the activities, they have trouble, they go back to the e-learning. It's not something where they require that whole teacher instruction as you go along. Students do guide themselves, and the system is set up for reteaching and all of that within.
Excellent, thank you. And I would just remind everyone who's attending the webinar right now that if you do have any questions, feel free to shoot those to us in that Q&A. I have another question that just came in here. Chris, maybe you can answer it. Could you tell us about the training that would be required for an instructor to implement the Ignite program?
So there's a lot of resources that Amatrol makes available for instructors to basically deliver this curriculum. One of them is, as long as you've purchased Amatrol equipment, they have free summer training for life, and you can send as many instructors as you may have that have interest in delivering the program. And that training facility is in Jeffersonville, Indiana. So normally you would travel in person to a facility and do hands-on training. This year, they're going to be offering several cloud-based training sessions through the summer. And the local distributors like ourselves, ATS Lab Midwest, we have our own staff, which is basically going to work with your instructors. And it's nothing to be frightened of. It's a self-paced, self-taught curriculum. So it's something that's well thought out, easy to deliver. And I think most instructors would be welcome in having this work done for them and not having to write anything from scratch. So.
Great, thanks, Chris. Another question that we have, Chris, maybe you can answer this one as well, or Marianne, if you have any personal experience, but what sorts of certifications could students going through the Ignite program, are there any certifications that they could sit for?
Well, I guess I'll start with that. So MSSC has the Certified Production Technician, CPT or CPT Plus certification, which lends itself very well to this curriculum. It's a great matchup. The equipment is the same. The knowledge that they're going to gain through this program is going to allow them to sit for that certification. And with a little bit of work, this could lead very well into SACA, which is the Smart Automation Certification Alliance, which is basically an Industry 4.0 curriculum, which is new. It's just being vetted and released right now, but it's a membership-based system that schools can belong to and offer unlimited credentials and micro-credentials to their students. So both of those programs would be great.
Excellent. It doesn't look like we have any other questions at the moment, although if you do have any, feel free to throw them out. Otherwise, I will hand things over to Matt.
Well, thank you, Melissa. And as it turns out, we're almost right up against our 30-minute window at any rate. So good that we were able to get all of those questions answered. Thank you so much, first of all, to our attendees on this webinar this week. Thank you for joining us, for learning a little bit more about the great things that are happening at LIFT and Ignite. I want to thank Marianne Donoghue for being a fantastic guest and for taking the time today to tell us a little bit about all of her great and very, very important work with the students in Detroit, Michigan and beyond. Also thank Chris Roberts from ATS Midwest for all of his sage advice and suggestions over the course of the last 30 minutes.